Welcome to my Marvel Rivals Marvel Zombies Thor hybrid build video. So this is primarily going to be used for Nightmare 4 difficulty. I have been trying to beat Nightmare 4 for the last couple days, and I recorded a match just to see how this new build would do, and it just so happened that we won the match. I finally got the Queen Slayer title. I'm really happy about it. So this video is going to be me explaining what I did different with my build, because trust me, I've been trying to follow these tutorials and guides of other people, and it just wasn't working. And then I was trying something new, and it did. Maybe it was because there were two blades that were carrying, but there were times where they were down, and I promise I was carrying. So let's see. Let me show you what I did. So first, abilities. His throw thingy. I went with Thunderous Slam. Alright, now of course it's your build, right? You can build it however you want, but this is what I did. Alright, so I went with Thunderous Slam. The only time you really, at least I think, Thor really throws his hammer in this game mode is if he's trying to generate Thor force. Thunderous Slam covers a wider zone, so it's easier to hit things with this one as opposed to like Chain Bolt or the Mjolnir Bash. Alright, so that I went with that one. I went with Concussion Cell over Bastion Dome because, frankly, I don't think Bastion Dome's all that good. It knocks enemies away, but you have to be really close to those enemies to do that, and it doesn't work on Sentinels. Whereas Concussion Cell, you can kind of camp like an enemy spawn, and it stuns them before they enter or when they leave. And so that's a little bit more useful. I just feel like it's a little more useful out of that one. Obviously, I don't think you're really going to be spamming E or this ability. For those who are playing on PS4 or Xbox or whatever, you're not going to be spamming this ability a lot. But I just feel like this one has more utility. Okay, and then the ultimate. Obviously, I would recommend highly Thunderclap Surge. This is part of Thor's bread and butter for his how he plays. Just high crowd control. You're smashing the ground. Every zombie on the map gets lifted up. It's really useful. Well, aside from like Sentinels and stuff, all the little guys. All right, and then for his traits, I went all blue, and you're like, well, okay, where's the hybrid part? And we'll get to that. And blessings, Khonshu's blessings. So obviously with purples, right? You can get health, you can get damage reduction. That's all kind of up to your leisure. I would highly recommend Zeus's Thunder. This is excellent with Thor. It generates his ultimate like crazy. You can always get damage dealt. You can get Vampiric Vitality. That's a great one. Just extra life steal. Something I wouldn't recommend, Primordial Frost. So this freezes enemies. Frankly, if you're Thor and you're doing your ultimate and you're playing him pretty well, you're gonna get your crowd control anyway with his ultimate. So I don't think you really need the frost. And then the full moon, I would recommend this early or mid game. I wouldn't really recommend it late game. This just nets you more moon power. So early, if you get that early, that's great. You get a lot more moon power whenever you get moon power. But late game, it's just not going to be as worth, as much as early game. So, just this is more up to your leisure, really. Now, as for his actual colored abilities, first thing I would recommend, all right, everybody and their dogs talk about it with Thor, Endstorm and Rune Recycle. These two are perfect. This is how you do a lot of damage. This is how he just absolutely massacres people, right? So it's good. I would get those two first. And then you could upgrade it a bit, with things like if you want more duration, if you want more attack speed, damage, stuff like that, go for it. I'm not gonna be here dictating how you get the build. If you want to build blue, get those two, and then build your blue. But what I would recommend, at least what I did again, is I wouldn't be so quick to be blind to the reds. All right, a lot of these videos, people are saying, hey, ignore the reds, we're looking at blues, or ignore the blues, we're looking at reds. I say this is a hybrid build. This is what I did. It worked, and I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna do this in the future with Thor. So what I would recommend is getting Storm Chaser. So Storm Chaser extends his dash. Thor has like a dash that with his hammer, and it extends that by 225%. This means that he dashes for a lot longer. Now this costs 5 moon power. Okay, so what else I would recommend would be rune fountains. This reduces the energy, that hammer that shows up that it requires for him to do the dash. If you get these and you stack them up to about 54.5%, around that number, I've calculated that number is generally when you can be in the air and he'll get his hammer back to do the dash again. So really, all you need to do, you don't have to go crazy on the reds. You should just get to about the storm surge energy cost reduction of about 54.5%. And then if you're still under the thunder formation, so what these are, I actually just found out about these. These are tiers, right, of the different colors. When you buy this rune fountain for like 1 moon power, then this red gets a 1, and when you get to 20, this first tier here, then you get the first unlock of his red ability, become unstoppable during storm surge, and it allows you to move freely, basically. So try to get just to the first tier of Thunder Formation 1, because that'll allow you to move freely in the air. Once you've done that, then you don't have to look at reds at all. Alright, now why do I think you should have this mobility? Well, it's really simple, because Nightmare 4 is freaking awful, and enemies come from everywhere, and I don't care if you're the best Thor in the world. If you've built nothing but damage, there is going to be a time where you're going to get flanked from somewhere, or you're going to be in a bad position, or you slam down from your ultimate and there's a sentinel that one taps you and you're dead. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. Now, getting this red stuff will make sure that you can get into better positions to do your ult. And then once you've got the ult going, the enemies are in the air, and then you're zapping them with the end storm while they're in the air, and you're generating your ult again, and then you can move to a better spot where there's no sentinels, no big guys, and you do your ult again, and rinse and repeat. Basically, you stay away from the big guys, you ulti, and then you hit the little guys while they're in the air. You get away from the big guys, and it just repeats. That's the cycle. That's how I think this Thor plays. And it has another benefit too. And that is that his dash, at least I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill. I honestly think his dash is the best ability in Marvel Zombies, and people don't even realize it. If you've built it right, where his Storm Surge energy cost is at about minus 54.5%, and he has the dash duration of plus 225%, that means that he can basically fly indefinitely, which means if you're fighting a horde of zombies, they can't do anything to you while you're in the air. If you go in circles near Avengers Tower, the enemies cannot touch you. I mean, the chances of them hitting you and killing you are staggeringly low. The amount of times where I have been the last person standing and all of the other allies I have are spectating so that they can get into the match and are watching this Thor go in circles untouched is ridiculous. I've had that happen so many times. Your friends, your teammates are gonna love you, because as long as you're doing that, they're safe. They can respawn, they can come back in, they can get kills. Now, the only time where this doesn't work is when you're fighting bosses. Namor has his stupid squitters, and Scarlet Witch has that AoE bullcrap, or she's gonna hurt you. So that's where the blue comes into play, and you're just gonna have to have a good offense to have a better defense, and that's pair that with lifesteal and max health and stuff like that, and you've got a pretty good Thor. I think that people are jumping the gun a little too much. They just see the blue and they just want to do nothing but the blue. But a good bit of red is really useful on this nightmare mode. There have been so many times where just being able to dash away from sentinels has saved my ass. Like I have been able to reposition myself. And there's a lot of enemies after round 15. The enemies just start spawning like everywhere. There's no place is safe. You're going to need some mobility with Thor. You just have to. He's just too slow otherwise. Anyways, so that's the build. Thank you for watching. I hope that it helps you out. I know it helped me out. I'm really excited that I finally got that title. It took me a couple days straight, but well, yeah. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next time.